And Anna, if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself, say hello, and give us just a little bit of an introduction of who you are and all of the above.
Perfect. Hi, thanks, Adam. Awesome to be here. I'm Dr. Anna Blessing. I operate a frequency medicine clinic out of Tucson, Arizona. So I've been doing this for 12 years, so obviously long before it was a cool thing to do. And I've had to push through a lot of the resistance, right, to healing that is invisible. So it's not an injection, it's not a pill, it's not a potion. And one of the things that I've been working with since, when did the terahertz come here? Probably few years now, right, Adam? When we first got the terahertz technology overall in the States?
Yep, it was a couple of years ago. We got like the first generation just got started with it.
Yep. And right away, it was amazing how rapid people could feel the difference, especially that back then we only had the wand to work with. And so that was just absolutely incredible. And I was like, there is something to this technology. And then when the P90 came out, I always make decisions intuitively. I just kind of know this is a technology I need to bring in, and then run it through my patient base, run it through my own testing, and see how it stands up with a number of different health challenges. So my clinic specializes in really complex cases like POTS, MCAS, fibromyalgia, autoimmune. Usually they have about 10 different things going on. So it's not like a very simple caseload that comes in. They're very complex. Some people are wheelchair bound because of nervous system dysregulation. We've had people who are almost non-functional to the degree where they need support coming into the clinic. So of course, being able to have something where they can sit and place their feet on it was an incredibly addition to what we do. So as I started running it through, 100% of the time, every single person that put their feet on that plate for 30 minutes had some type of encounter after. And that was when I was really like, there's something to this. So I have plates, I have systems in the clinic, but to be honest with you, I recommend every single patient get their own. As you know, Adam, the daily use of this is really where you get that regulation going. If you're coming in a few times a week, you'll get some improvement. But when you can use this thing daily, that's where you start to see miraculous like healing. And what I have found is the twofold element with it, the PEMF. So we live in Tucson, which is very positive ion rich. We live in a desert that's drier than the Sahara. And the environment here is just extremely harsh. So there's not a lot of negative ions. There's no water. There's no trees. So the negative ion aspect from the PEMF is really, really important. It draws out the inflammation. It is able to really regulate our systems here that are very positive ion rich. I know that's everywhere, but specifically in this environment, in this desert, that's a huge added benefit. And then with the simplest way I put it is terahertz gives your cells what it needs to thrive and survive. And when people ask, does it help with this? Does it help with this? Does it help with this? It's really quite simple. When you give your body what it needs, it can heal itself from virtually anything. And so when you're using the terahertz rich technology with the PEMF, in essence, you're pulling out what is no longer needed, and you're charging those cells up with what it needs. And when we have enough energy, to be honest, our bodies are created to be in a state of ease all the time. And we're not really created to age. Mature, yes. Age, no. So when we are charging ourselves up at this level, it's going to go through and figure out what is the most important thing to heal. And then it will go through its own checklist. And as you have excess energy, that's where the anti-aging, the weight loss, it's like an overflow is the way I explain it. So it's kind of just a little background.
And how many people do you think you had that you've run through your clinic on these things?
I've been working with this for a little over a year. Easily a few hundred.
Oh, wow. So you've had quite a few people come through the area.
Yeah. And one of the things I do with it too is I keep the terahertz. So most of the equipment I do in clinic, you have to have a background on somebody. It's not like I can just hook somebody up. This makes it easy where I don't really have to know what's going on with it, as long as they don't have a pacemaker. It's the only thing. But it makes it easy for me not to have to do the comprehensive intake and be able to put them on a treatment. So I actually run a Groupon on it too, to give people an opportunity to kind of come in, check us out before, since it's a safe treatment to do that. I mean, there's virtually nothing that can go wrong when you use this, unless you jump to a 10 right away. I mean, that, and some people when they buy their machine tend to do that, and they feel it. But I've had a good few hundred people come through the clinic. And one story I want to share was this past week, a gal came in on a Groupon. So this is a very common thing. The medical system, when you tell them this happened and I got these symptoms, they tell you you're crazy, you need to be on psychiatric meds, and it's all in your head. Unfortunately, that's very common. They put her on birth control, and she felt her whole body just start to die, is the way she explained it. And her connection with God disconnect. She couldn't feel the light anymore. And this is just her words. So she had found the Groupon, and she was searching like a way to reconnect with the divine. And so she came across the clinic, and she was like, what is this place? Like, what do you do? And she bought the Groupon and came in this past week. Within 3 minutes of me putting her on there, she said she could feel the light returning to her cells.
Oh, that is super cool. So if you don't mind, a quick question. You mentioned the Groupon thing. We got a business call. Would you mind sharing, what do you use the Groupon for? How does that work? Like, give people a quick overview, if you would, please.
Sure. So I just put on, we use a sound healing called Huso. It's Human Sound, their headphones, right, too. So what I did was I put up a Groupon. One is the terahertz P90 at like a cheaper level, right? And then the second one is the terahertz P90 with the sound healing, so they can add that extra added benefit. So it kind of gives them an option of, do you want to add some sound, which I highly recommend. It's really, really powerful, and it keeps you present and away from your phone. And on Groupon, so the way I look at Groupon, a lot of people look at it as discounted services, but if you reframe the way you look at it as a way people search out and find new things to try that they've never heard of, and you use them as a way to bring in new clientele to your clinic, your space, whatever it is you're doing, and you have a way to either upsell them on a package of a few systems, or you have some type of intake process, whatever that is for you, it's amazing. For 12 years, I've used Groupon as a way to bring in new patients to my clinic. And because I have a way to walk them through the next step after they come in, it's been incredible.
Well, awesome. We appreciate you tons. It was fun to bring into both the negative and the positive ions, because we have a dual torus field to our body. It's supposed to be positive, negative. There's supposed to be a flowing. Anytime you don't have one or the other, we get a stagnancy. And anytime you get a stagnant energy, we get blockages. We get lots of things that shouldn't be happening start happening when the energy is stagnant.
It for sure. Yeah, so, this is the fastest way. People, I have invested probably $200,000 in technologies in the clinic. Some passed my test, some didn't. It's just part of doing business. But when people say, what is one thing, what out of everything that you've experienced, everything you've tried, I'm talking from Healy to AO, like all of the different things, right? They all have their place, but nothing compares to this. Like, this is the one technology, in my opinion, that every family and household needs and will need, because so there's a lot of changes happening. To put in perspective, we used to get like one X-class solar flare every 17, 18 years. We've had like 40 in a week's time. And so we've had easily several hundred since the beginning of this year. What is that? So people don't really track or follow that. Well, it's photons. It's a massive photon blast. And photons, when they hit our cells in our body, any trauma that's been unprocessed, any toxins, toxicity, injuries, anything that hasn't been healed, it's going to hit right up on that. And it's going to make us very uncomfortable. So it's going to happen anyways. This makes it so much easier because you can work with it on a daily basis, gently over time. And I don't really think it's possible to move through what's to come energetically with these changes that we're experiencing with ease if we don't have technology like this. I can say that with full confidence. People may think I'm crazy, but I'm like, I want to go through these changes with the greatest amount of ease. If you want the hard way, okay.
Okay, it's usually probably going to be more expensive too if you try to do it the other way.
For sure, because it creates all sorts of, like, as soon as, if the blockage is big enough, you will manifest and materialize in some type of nervous system malfunction. And I'm like, I'm not willing to take that risk.
No, I'd rather not. I'd rather keep this as easy as possible and have as much fun as possible and save the money. So
100%.
if I were to make a statement, if I made the statement to say this device not only is amazing for, say, physical health, that people want to support their physical health, bring themselves back online, would it be safe to say that this would be a technology for consciousness enhancement that is one of the greatest tools that's out there for helping accelerate the advancements of people's consciousness?
100%. So you and Joey did a fantastic video on the microtubules aspect, right? With the terahertz and the consciousness, which if people haven't seen that, basically go watch that to really dive into this. But in simple terms, nothing is separated. So the last place something shows up is the physical, right? People think we gain awareness when we heal, but actually healing comes from new awareness. And so the consciousness element is so important, because if we do not have awareness of what got us sick in the first place, the patterns, the things passed down, the lack of consciousness, then we're going to repeat that or create something worse. So when you're using this, it really, our consciousness is stored in our DNA and our cells, and I want to keep it as simple as possible. And then our heart and our brain work together to bring that into, like, our brain processes in a way that we can understand as a human, but our heart carries such a greater amount of consciousness. So when you, for example, if you've ever had your heart race and you put your feet on the system, right, and you bring it down into more coherence on a lower level, a higher level is going to probably stimulate, but when you bring your coherence into a more stabilized place, all of a sudden, okay, what just set my heart rate up? Oh, wow, I got this phone call. I saw this on the news. Whatever that was, now you have that awareness. So a big part of that is being proactive enough to say, hey, I'm not in a stable state at the moment. Let me go stabilize myself. Then the consciousness comes up, and then you're able to change the pattern. It's not as complicated as people think when we take the time to really be with ourselves and give ourselves the time to reflect on what's coming up and what these messages are. Every health condition is a message of consciousness. We just have to learn to peel back the layers to interpret it.
Yeah, and one of the huge things that you were talking about, the frazzledness, because I'll get busy with work all day, the kids are bombarding me, I got all these demands and everything going on, and I like to take a little break and go play my piano back here and be like, oh, listen, I want to go play some piano. The problem is, though, I'm in the wrong brainwave state. It's all, racing rapid, high beta to where there's no focus, there's no attention. I love using the device to be like, all right, listen, I got to slow myself down here for a sec so I can focus. And it is a night and day difference. And I mean, I can use breathing activities and essential oils, and there's modalities, and it's not like they're not great, but just the device is just set my feet on it for just a couple of minutes. It's like, oh my God, okay. I'm not going to be, because otherwise I'll get all flustered trying to play it, being like, oh my God, I can't focus. I'm not playing, missing all the notes. And then I just it gets worse. It was like, this was supposed to be relaxing playing this thing, not like make it worse for me when I need a little break. I love using the device for that, to, like you mentioned, to say, listen, slow down, draw that awareness, unpack and compartmentalize, to be like, hey, listen, there's some things right now I don't need to deal with. There are some things I do need to deal with in the current moment in time of where I'm at. So and
we've ran so neurofeedback's one of the things I do, so you can calculate brain waves, and it will bring the brain down into that alpha state, which is that anti-inflammatory. So alpha states where we're no longer inflamed and we're in a calming state. So alpha is very, very important. Every brainwave state has a purpose, but if you're trying to heal and you're trying to drop into parasympathetics, you want to get down into the alpha. Then when you do the deeper emotional work, that's more the theta element, which you can absolutely drop into here too. And I think that's also why some people have had emotional detox when they've started this. And it's one of the things I always kind of mention to people. Usually they're coming in for a treatment program so they can talk to me through it. But I'm like, be aware that this will probably start to surface certain memories, emotions, things. It's not a bad thing. It's moving it out. But figure out what your tolerance level is, like what you're able to handle. If doing it every day is moving things too quickly, back it down. It's not a race to see who can get through all of these traumas.
Level 10. Don't do that. That's not the point.
No. And what happened, I have another patient. I have another patient who didn't listen. They were like, I'm going to do level 10 every single day. And all of the dormant viruses came up and she was not feeling well. And so I was sharing with her, I was like, this is why you want to go slow, because it's so powerful that it can move physical, mental, and emotional toxins, even spiritual. But it's not a race to get to 10 or to move it out faster. You want to be comfortable through the healing process. That's my approach, at least.
Yeah, I'm there with you. I'm always a type A personality. Hey, let's just hurry up and do it all right away. I've now gotten a little bit more mature, learned and got, well, listen, if I'm doing that, I'm number one, not going to have any fun. And number two, I'm actually probably going to prolong the process because you don't actually ever get anything done. You're just overwhelmed the whole time.
Yes.
It's like, I'm not eating the elephant anymore. It's now the elephant is stomping on me. It's like, no, it needs to be the one bite at a time and do this slow and don't try to race to where you're going to try and get to.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, one of my favorite things is I tell people, the high type A's, I'm like, take some lithium orotate mineral that used to be in our water. Take some lithium orotate. In 5 or 10 minutes, it will kick in, sit on that system for 30 minutes. You'll be a different person by the time you come off. The combination of those two.
So I love pairing supplements with this thing. We'll get into it later in the presentation, but like lithium orotate for its mental health balancing properties, and then you drive it in with the plate.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I haven't done that one in that short of a set. I've done it with lots of other ones, but normally my mood is really good, so I don't really use much for lithium, but I'm going to totally try that because now I'm like, this sounds like a great way to make my day start happy.
Yeah. And well, and lithium orotate is neuroprotective and neuroregenerative too. So, a lot of people know about the mood element of the mineral. So people know the medication, which is a totally different chemical compound, has absolutely nothing to do with the mineral. And it used to be in our water. So people's moods, and it's a stabilizer, nervous system stabilizer, but it's also neuroregenerative and neuroprotective. And I did some research. It also supports, Jill's talking about, 7-Up and Coca-Cola used to have ingredients that were healthy for us until big corporation took over.
So they said, let's make them addictive instead of good for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Coca-Cola was all about, it had like the coca plant, which cocaine is a different processing of the coca plant, but the coca plant has a ton of health benefits before they went in that route. But the lithium orotate and the neuroprotective also with the terahertz stroke. So I work with a lot of stroke patients who come in too. That's another, I have an array of different types of people who come in, but it's been absolutely incredible how it's enhanced all their other therapies. It doesn't take the place of like physical therapy or speech therapy, but it enhances and expedites the results that they get through that process.
And even chiropractic, sacrocranial therapy, acupuncture, emotional couples counseling, even individual counseling. It enhances everything. And boy, is that, it's so much fun because it just opens up this whole new world of going like, I get to biohack in all these new ways that you only have to buy it once. And everything you've already been doing, you're like, I can do so many new things now because I can just pair this together with it.
And it's silent. So my husband hated the wand. I still love the wand, especially.
I hated the old wand so bad. I wouldn't even. The noise alone was like angry dinosaurs in mating season. It was terrible.
The noise is still not my favorite, and I also love it for vanity purposes. Like you get out of the shower, put on your moisturizer, and I tell all the women like use it like you're like anti-aging, and they're like, I look 5 years younger after my 5 minutes. I'm like, I know. It's amazing. But my husband hated it because the sound, and he's from the military. I know you are too. So, your nervous systems are just more heightened. So the sound was really grinding on him. So he never used the wands. But this foot system we all laugh. The women who come in, they're like, "Oh my gosh, it's the only thing that my husband will do on his own. He'll just pull it out and he'll put his feet on and he'll start it." I'm like, yeah. So us wives love it because it's the system that the husbands actually use.
Yeah, and the relationship benefits from it too, to have both people stabilized and that bring that parasympathetic system back online so that you can the relationship component of it is so much fun of using it, because if you're in a stressed out, frazzled household, wherever you're at, be like, that's just two people are just going to be grinding together in the wrong ways then. So bringing it down, being able to have those conversations too, the stress level drop. Oh, it is such an awesome inclusion. And yeah, this is the one device, because I've had health products all over the place that I've worked with all the time. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them, but guys just do not have a tendency to deal with that stuff. They're like, nah, I'm uninterested, don't care. This has been the one thing that I've seen guys be as excited about it as women. Yes. That they're like, listen, I love it too. This is great.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's huge, because it takes, for the women on this call, I'm sure you know, it takes a lot more effort for us to get our men into those healthy habits. But here they can watch football and just put their feet on this thing and their body is going to heal. It's amazing.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I don't want to keep you too long. Any great closing remarks for us?
From me?
Yeah, from you.
Well, maybe you could ask if anybody has any questions too. Since it's a business call, like if anybody wants to ask me anything in regards to something I haven't covered.
Yeah, we'll take a little bit of time and make this a little bit interesting. Let's pop open the chat on here. We can go through the other stuff, and let's see. Someone had a lithium overdose 20 years ago, deemed allergic. Lithium, if you use standard lithium, that's where it becomes a real problem. Lithium orotate has a way higher acceptability in the body. There are two different can of worms.
Yeah, the medication is not even the same chemical compound.
Not even close. Like, there's two different cans of worms completely. And somebody asked, where'd you go to school and what's your doctorate in?
I went to University of Sedona, and I have a PhD in transpersonal counseling. So I used my PhD actually to create my own career field in a clinic that didn't exist before.
Oh, awesome. Oh my gosh. Well, I think on that note, we have stolen enough of your time tonight. Perhaps I'll have to bribe you with something fun to have you come back for another more casual conversation at another time. But Dr. Anna, thank you so very much for being here. Your wonderful smile, your great input. I just can't thank you enough. And have the most amazing night, and we will catch up again soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Adam.